of Nagasaki, target for atom bomb number 2, is filmed from a superfortress many miles away.
Welcome to today's video, where we dive into one of history's most debated questions. Which war was deadlier, World War I or World War II? These two global conflicts changed the course of humanity, leaving behind a legacy of immense destruction and loss. We'll explore the staggering death tolls, groundbreaking weaponry, and the sheer scale of devastation each war brought. Get ready to uncover the chilling realities behind these historic events and decide for yourself which was truly deadlier. Between World War I and World War II, determining which was deadlier depends on various metrics, including total death tolls, civilian impact, and long-term consequences. Both wars were unprecedented in their scale and destruction, shaping the 20th century profoundly. By analyzing the fatalities, methods of warfare, and societal impacts, it becomes evident that while both wars had their unique horrors, World War II ultimately proved to be deadlier on multiple fronts. World War I, often referred to as the Great War, lasted from 1914 to 1918 and resulted in an estimated 16 million deaths, including approximately 10 million military personnel and 6 million civilians. It involved the major powers of Europe, with colonies and allies drawn into the conflict. The war's death toll was staggering for its time, as industrialized warfare introduced mass killing on an unprecedented scale. In contrast, World War II, fought between 1939 and 1945, was far more devastating in terms of sheer numbers. Estimates place the death toll between 70 to 85 million people, encompassing military personnel and civilians. This figure includes the Holocaust, where approximately 6 million Jews and millions of other marginalized groups were systematically murdered. World War II's death toll dwarfs that of World War I, reflecting its global reach, the advanced technologies of war, and the deliberate targeting of civilian populations. World War I introduced mechanized warfare with tanks, machine guns, and poison gas, causing mass slaughter on the battlefields. Battles like Verdun and the Somme became symbols of senseless carnage, with millions of soldiers killed for minimal territorial gains. However, despite its brutality, much of the combat remained localized to specific fronts, predominantly in Europe. World War II, however, saw the full realization of total war. Technological advancements had progressed significantly, introducing aircraft, advanced tanks, submarines, and, ultimately, nuclear weapons. The development of long-range bombers allowed for cities to be targeted, leading to significant civilian casualties. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki alone killed over 200,000 people, showcasing a level of destruction previously unimaginable. The global nature of World War II meant that virtually no continent was spared from its effects, extending the scale of suffering far beyond that of World War I. While World War I caused significant civilian casualties through starvation, disease, and the destruction of infrastructure, the deliberate targeting of civilians was not a central strategy. Civilians often suffered as collateral damage, particularly in areas where battles raged or blockades led to famine, such as in Germany and the Ottoman Empire. World War II marked a stark departure in this regard. Civilians were not only collateral damage, but also intentional targets. The Holocaust remains one of the darkest chapters in human history, characterized by industrialized genocide. Strategic bombing campaigns, such as those on London, Dresden, and Tokyo, aimed to break the enemy's morale by targeting civilian populations. Moreover, forced labor, mass deportations, and starvation policies, such as those seen during the siege of Leningrad, significantly added to the civilian death toll. The scale and intention behind these actions were far deadlier than anything seen in World War I. The psychological toll of World War I was profound, as it shattered the romantic notions of war held by many societies. The lost generation of soldiers returned home with physical and emotional scars, struggling to reintegrate into societies that could hardly comprehend the horrors they had faced. The war also led to significant political upheaval, with the fall of empires such as the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. However, the aftermath, though tumultuous, did not reach the societal upheaval seen after World War II. World War II's psychological impact was even more far-reaching. The revelations of concentration camps and the extent of the Holocaust left the world grappling with the depths of human cruelty. The war also led to the widespread displacement of populations, with millions of refugees seeking to rebuild their lives in the wake of the devastation. The ideological divides that emerged during the war set the stage for the Cold War, further shaping global politics for decades. The economic consequences of World War I were severe, with Europe's infrastructure devastated and economies strained by years of total war. The Treaty of Versailles imposed harsh reparations on Germany, contributing to economic instability and the rise of extremist movements. However, the global economy began to recover in the 1920s, albeit unevenly and interrupted by the Great Depression. World War II's economic impact was far more extensive. Entire cities were destroyed, particularly in Europe and Asia, requiring years of reconstruction. The war fundamentally reshaped the global economy, with the United States emerging as a dominant economic power and Europe's influence diminished. The Marshall Plan helped rebuild Western Europe, but the division of the world into capitalist and communist blocs defined global economics for much of the 20th century. Additionally, the sheer scale of destruction required more comprehensive rebuilding efforts, making the economic consequences of World War II far deadlier in the short and long term. World War I's geopolitical outcomes were significant, but not as transformative as those of World War II. The redrawing of borders in Europe and the Middle East created new nations, but also sowed the seeds for future conflicts, such as World War II itself. The League of Nations, established to prevent future wars, ultimately failed to fulfill its mission. World War II, on the other hand, reshaped the global order entirely. The establishment of the United Nations sought to foster international cooperation and prevent future conflicts. The war also led to the decolonization of Africa and Asia, as colonial powers weakened by the conflict could no longer maintain control over their territories. The emergence of the United States and the Soviet Union as superpowers created a bipolar world, influencing global politics, economics, and military strategies for decades. While World War I introduced the world to the horrors of modern industrialized warfare, World War II surpassed it in every metric of devastation. The death toll, the scale of destruction, and the targeting of civilian populations in World War II make it the deadlier conflict by a significant margin. Moreover, the long-term consequences of World War II, including the Cold War and the decolonization of vast regions, have had a more profound and lasting impact on global history. Both wars were tragedies of immense proportions, but the unprecedented scale and scope of World War II mark it as the deadlier of the two. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the grim histories of World War I and World War II. The scale of loss and devastation in both wars serves as a sobering reminder of the cost of conflict. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think was the deadlier war? Until next time, stay curious and informed.